This is A View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. By the magic of television, today is Tuesday, the 4th of November. And my name's Davy Gypsy. Over here, like he's doing an interview on Spotlight in 1988 in the darkness here, Marty. Down below, Belfast Giants legend, Simon Kitchen. Good evening, gents.
Good evening, David.
Good evening, David.
Listen, I'll apologise up front here because Paddy's not available tonight and he's left us in charge. And there's all these buttons and all now. I don't even know what half of them do. So,
on the right to Riley. Yeah! Come on!
So I'll press them as we go along. But let's just crack on. We're going to try and go for a record show, like what I'm talking, 35, 40 minutes. We've got a couple of guests along the way. All right, Sam?
Yes, mate, go ahead.
But we're going to start with a look back. It's almost a week ago now when we played the Cardiff Devils at home. There's probably like slides and stuff. I don't know where they are. We beat the Cardiff Devils 2-1. Can I remember who scored the goals? Simon, can you remember? I do actually got it in front of me.
Jake got that.
Jake got that from Mike Lee and Cardiff Dre. 2-1 goals from Kawaguchi and an assist from Mike Lee. And the third one was an empty netter, wasn't it? It was the 3,000th goal in SSE Odyssey history. 3,000 goal come from David Goodwin with just a few seconds left on the clock. And that was our 1,000th ever franchise win. So, Simon, while I look for like some graphics, talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, 1,000 win in our 26th season. It's it's quite an accomplishment, and I'm not too sure of the win percentage, Davy, but I know it's right up there and something we should be very, very proud of. And going back to the game last Wednesday, that's not one that's going to live long in the memory. It was a real battle, and we knew that it was going to be a battle. Cardiff are coming in on a good bit of form. We're sort of banged up at the minute. I know they're missing a couple of players as well, but I thought the game itself was just a real grind. You needed to dig one out, and going to one goal down. I think it was a Contos scored for them about the 10-minute mark halfway through the first period, and I thought it sort of woke us up a bit, and we came back into it a little bit, and when we had the first goal by Jake at that in the second period, to be honest, I thought we were unlucky not to go ahead further. Ben Bounds and Jackson Whistle. I mean, you're talking about the two best GB goalies, and head to head, and when they do go head to head, it's usually a game where neither of them wants to come out on the back end of it. But getting that the go ahead goal by Kawaguchi halfway through the third period was a real good goal and well worked. And I know Kawaguchi with a great finish, but it was really important, to try and make sure that we get that win against a really good and well coached Cardiff Devils team. Last week we were hosting 180 delegates from all around the world, mostly Europe, in the EHC conference, and they were overly impressed with our game night on a 7,500 crowd in the SSE arena on a Wednesday night, and we got some really positive comments about the whole experience for them, being there in Belfast last week. But I thought that the game overall, I thought we deserved the 2 points, and I thought that just to get that empty netter by David Goodwin, when I was not expecting him to dig that out. I think it was 2 or maybe 3 on 1, but Goody, he dug it out, did really well to get it on target, and to come out with the 2 points was very, very satisfying.
Marty, if memory serves me right, you were behind the mic.
No, not Wednesday night.
So memory doesn't serve me right then. So, but you did watch it at home because you do your homework for the podcast every week. So, your own thoughts on the game, mate?
Yeah, I thought it was evenly matched. I mean, there was shots on goal. 33 to the Giants, 32 to the Devils. I thought the Devils were unfortunate not to get a goal just before. I felt sorry for McFadden. You said their Contos driving the net, throwing it in, and kind of McFadden fans on. He tries to clear it, puts it in this bag of his own net. But I thought Cardiff were looking as if they could go on to get a second, but then thankfully when we levelled the game up, I thought it was an evenly matched game. I always thought we always had like the little edge. We looked more clinical. I think our passing was a little bit crisper. And obviously there's a fight with Kieran Long. I forget who he was actually fighting, but
Remco.
Once them two guys got going as well, got the fire in the crowd, and Assist touched as well about a big crowd, sellout crowd. I mean, I have been to the majority of games this year, lucky enough, and the place has been electric. The crowd nearly sell out every game, and just I do feel that it does feed onto the team. Once if there's a big hit, once if there's an early goal or the fight, you can just see that extra step in the Giants gameplay. And I'm just going to touch on a couple of individual players here. I thought that Mike Lee definitely, he's been playing probably the most minutes, at least the last 10, 11 games for us. He's had to step up big, obviously covering a lot of injuries on the back end. And that move that he kind of pulled, I didn't think he was going to kind of turn around and more or less, I don't think this was it. No, we know what he does. He goes down. It looks like he's going to skate down. He's going in those backhanded pippy, swivels round, just one crossover, lets that wrist shot near side of Ben Bounce, and Gadet gets that lovely little tip in. So I think Mike Lee certainly is addressing the offense addressing the offense all the time from the defense, and it's working so well. I think part of his game, especially on home ice.
Says your thoughts on the Cardiff Devils. It was a fairly, what would you put it? It was a fairly attritional game. It was two good sides going against each other. No quarter asked or given, and it took us well into the game to break them.
They're a good team, mate. We talked about this right back at the start of the season. Paul Thompson knows what he's at, and you knew he was going to get them prepared and ready to go. And they have a couple of really good pieces. I really like the kid, Olszewski. He's a real top quality player. Joey Martin doesn't look like he's slowing down, and a couple of big chances at the last Wednesday night. They're definitely going to be thereabouts. I like what I see with Cardiff. They're physical. That's one thing I didn't touch on at the thing. I thought it was a really good start from Adam. I thought to put the Ben Lake line out there first, and everybody was throwing their body about in the first period and let them know exactly, if you want a physical battle, we're going to be up for it. And obviously Kieran Long dropping the gloves and your Chuck wasn't the best fight we're ever going to see, but really important to set the marker down and let them know again, look, we're not soft, and you don't have to fight every night. You just have to. It's team toughness is a big difference, and there was a few people said to me about the man of the match after the game. I thought Ben Lake was immense. He hit everything that moved, and you just seen how his teammates reacted when he was announced as man of the match. Lakers got a bit of trouble at the minute, but he's still playing through it, and we know how tough he is, and great for him to come out on the other end of it, and as I say, physical game, but to come out and get that win over the Cardiff Devils in the first game against them this season, and a start of 3 games against Nottingham, Sheffield, and the Cardiff Devils was vitally important.
And Marty, just to close out, there's David Goodwin with the empty netter, just a few seconds left on the clock. Ben Bounds off the bench for the extra man. Just a word for that, Ben Lake, and for Adam Keefe as well, for the thoughts of putting that line out first and really setting the tone in this game.
It just shows the belief he has. You can bring your top line out, start the game off with obviously like Conway, Erickson, Smith, or he just feels right, I need to stick Ben Lake out there, a guy who is tough, a guy who does have skill as well, but it's good that he can mix and match it up and set the tone for the start of the game. Simon was completely right how he described he liked that start, he liked the intensity that he brought, but we kind of chatted there just before the show. Simon also said, Davy said as well, Ben Lake kind of a bit of a niggle, and when he's out there on the ice you can't see it, but if he's walking out of the dressing room afterwards, you're thinking, how on earth does he just play that game at that intensity?
Well, just
sorry, Davey. Sorry, just looking at that. With that last goal from David Goodwin, right in the last frame, there was four Devils players around him, but then you could throw a blanket over them, and he managed to kick that puck free onto his stick. And then, even from a very, very tight angle, it was a really good finish by Davy and sort of took a bit of pressure off us because, Cardiff were really coming. They'd got a power play with about 3 minutes or 4 minutes remaining as well, from memory. Jackson stood up and stood tall and played very, very well. And it was not a game, as I said, that's going to live long in the memory, but it was a big game for the 2 points against one of the rivals that are going to be thereabouts at the end of the season.
Let's move it on. 48 hours, whatever that was. We'll move it on. 48 hours. Taff packed the van up, got the kit dried, got himself over to the East Midlands, and the Giants faced off against the Panthers. A 2-1, an overtime or a penalty shots win. I was there. I can't even remember what happened. It was like 3 days ago. Penalty shots, yeah. Penalty shots win. Who scored the penalty shots now? Smithy with the winner. With the second one. Ben Lake got the first one.
No, I can't remember.
But it did. It started with a 47-second clap in memory of Adam Johnson, and then the action got going, Marty.
Yeah, and we had a couple of early power plays, and it's actually Chase Pearson. He actually got 2 breakaways. I couldn't believe it. First one, he kind of tried to pull a move on Jackson Whistle and overcooked his deke, and I think it's coming up now, yeah. And then the second one, I think he actually came out of the penalty box himself and just put it high over Jackson Whistle. And then he got the third opportunity then. It was a bit of a fan shot from one of his players and more or less hit off him and went into the back of the net. But to be honest, I know it was a close game. I know that it was one, obviously it was 1-1, went into overtime and then into penalty shots, but I always felt we had the edge. We definitely had a lot more shots than them, probably because we've had more power play time. I'll let Simon go on to talk about the hit on Carl Badrea, but I think even listening to likes of John Bullard on commentary, they weren't begrudged of the Giants winning the game. I think also Jackson Whistle played fantastic yet again, coming up big. And it was just, obviously they've got a really solid netminder as well in Carr, and just netminders coming up big, denying the forwards. But in the end, I think we did deserve to get that extra point. But in saying that, Nottingham Panthers did deserve to get a point.
I'm not sure I agree with you, but we'll let Sis have his word on it. Pretty tight scoreline, as Marty has mentioned there. But I thought, especially in the second period, the middle stanza, as they would say, I thought were really dominant. Simon.
Well, Davy, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to flip it back to you because you were there. You had a better view than anybody else on the three of us. What was your thoughts on it?
Just what I said in the question, really. I thought we were fairly dominant. The hit against Carl was a bit of a momentum shift as well. After that, there was a feeling on the bench like this is, not so much we're going to do it for Carl, but we're not going to be beat here tonight. There was a real up of the energy levels, up of the intensity. Even that bit of a lucky goal. So it's got a deflection. It's hit his glove going in. Jackson, obviously, you'll come on to talk. Jackson was under pressure. He had played on Wednesday night. He was having to play on Friday. It looked like he was going to have to play Saturday because of the goaltending. There's the hit. Like, I haven't seen anything from Dops, so I can't say too much on that. But for me, that's a bad hit, Simon. He's out of control. It's one of those like back splashes. He turns his back. He's not playing the puck. It's the man. Obviously, player's gone off, badly hurt. Hembrandt plays the next night. I don't know. There was a lot of chirping from Nottingham Panthers fans. He's gone straight through the numbers and boarded them there. No intent ever to play the puck whatsoever. Stick's not anywhere near the ground. So for me, that's a suspendable hit. I don't know whether anyone will come out and say, they've reviewed it. They've probably called Toronto and got told what to do. But I don't know, man. I'm glad we came away with the 2 points. We talked last week after, maybe before the Cardiff game, with Cardiff, Panthers, Sheffield, 3 games, 4 or 5 nights. If we can take 4 points out of these 6, we'll be well set, And I think with the attrition of being down bodies, I know people go, everybody's got their own injuries, troubles. You're down Ben, or you're down Gabe Bass, Josh Roach, Sam Jones. You lose Carl Boudreau on the road. You've already said that, Ben Nake's playing hurt. There's other boys playing with little things. You're down. You've only got Jackson. I want to say, I don't mean you've only got Jackson Nets because he was quite superb over the night. What I mean is you've got no backup. We've got Petr Cech and on the bench, Deco and Gravel unavailable. So there's a lot of adversity in this team at the minute, but they've managed to pull 4 points out of 6 with those 3 fixtures and a lot coming down the road. So hopefully now they've got a few days off here to try and recharge the batteries, recuperate, recover. But I thought we were well worth the win. I think at the end of the second period, Marty, on the shot count, it was something like 29-15. So we've been fairly dominant. And yeah, we've had a couple of early power plays, but you got to take your opportunities when they come along. And I guess that maybe if Adam was thinking of anything negative, not negative, anything that different from the night, was we had opportunities to put this away in regulation.
Yeah, I think you're right. Again, if you want to look at the 3 games as a trio of playing arguably 3 of the top teams in the league, if you had to give Adam 4 points on last Tuesday, I think he probably would have, if he's honest with himself, he probably would have took them. I said this to you on Friday after the win against Cardiff on the Wednesday night. I knew they were going to be banged up. I said to you that, if you give me another 2 points from the weekend, I'd be delighted. And obviously getting 4 from 4 against Cardiff and Nottingham, it sort of put us in good stead. And yes, you want to go into Sheffield, and Sheffield didn't have a game the night before, like a battle we had. 2 games in 72 hours against Cardiff and Nottingham, 2 really, really tough games. And as you say, it was 2 real battles. But the boys put in 2 solid performances, and Jackson played very well in net to basically limit both those teams to a goal each. When you're looking at the hit, I thought it was a bad hit. I'm sort of thinking that, when you look at Carl, Card's got the speed to go round the back of that net, a bit quicker. Hembrandt is a very quick player. I was surprised there was nothing from Dops on Saturday morning. Will it be looked at after that? Who knows? I really don't know what the situation is with it. However, the referees deemed it 5+ game. So, they've seen something in it, and they've got a lot more experience in making those calls than I have. So I would have thought it was going to be a suspendable hit. Bit shocked that it wasn't. The other thing about that is it then, weakens their team against the Coventry Blaze team. We don't get the benefit of it, but it doesn't really weaken them anymore because they've got another import sitting there ready to come in. If an import, you don't go and import down anymore. It's from memory, and it's one of those things now that player is personally punished. It's not the team getting punished anymore, which is something I don't agree with. But look, it is what it is. People say it's sour grapes, and it would be sour grapes if we lost a bloody game. We didn't lose the game. We picked up the 2 points. We got the shootout win. Jackson saved all 4 penalty shots from them, which was fantastic. And again, another really solid performance from the boys, and coming out with a win in Nottingham. And it looked like a really big crowd in Nottingham as well. So, solid performance. Great job by everybody concerned. And massive thanks to Petr Cech for dropping everything that he had to do at the weekend and coming up and give us a hand when we really, really needed it.
Marty, before we move on, I'd see if I can just scroll back ever so slightly here to the hit on Carl Boudreau to let you have your own say on it. But, I said my piece earlier, I think it was pretty naughty. For me, Rembrandt's out of control. He's not trying to play the puck, and he's caused a pretty bad injury to.
Yeah, he's just went through he's just went through Carl's numbers. He's hit them square on. He's hit the number 71 square on straight into the boards, and you just can't do that. It's a nasty hit. You guys have summed up rightly. I thought that maybe there would have been something coming out with Dops. A little bit disappointed as well. And you just see the reaction from the players. I think it was Nicholas Gay chasing them more or less the whole way down the ice, more or less to have a go at him. Obviously, refs and different players got in the way of it. So certainly, Giants players weren't happy with that hit. And I didn't actually hear Adam's comments. I don't know if he commented on it or not. It'd be interesting to hear them if we could at some stage. But yeah, you don't like to see it. And unfortunately, we will probably see a few more hits like this across the season with various teams. And sometimes we do try and say, oh, maybe the defender could have been a little more smarter and maybe turned a little bit quicker or protected himself or protected his body a little bit better. But I think that was unavoidable. And Carl's really unfortunate to receive that hit from Rembrandt.
I don't have the money to pay a suspension, so I'm not going to a fine. So I can't say too much on it. But like, Carl isn't in a particularly vulnerable position there. He knows Rembrandt's coming. He's going to take the puck on behind the net. He's only got eyes for the puck. For me, I don't think Rembrandt's got eyes for the puck at all. There, stick's not on the ice. He's shoulder into his numbers. It's not shoulder to shoulder. I know Danny Stewart on the night said it was a shoulder to elbow hit, but I'm not sure I concur with that. I think that's pretty bad. If it cost me, I think Dops make a rod for their own back here when they come out the other week and find Scott Conway for a bit of a love tap, slash up in Scotland there. And that comes away with nothing more than a 5+ game. And Rembrandt goes on the next night to be involved in 2 goals, scores 1, has another assist. So as Simon says, it doesn't weaken the Panthers, though they would have had the import sitting there ready to go anyway. But listen, we'll move on. Well, before we go to the Sheffield game, we'll bring in someone who was involved in all 3 games and knows much more about it than any of us. The captain, Mr. Goodwin. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
I'm just going to work out how to... We don't have Paddy here tonight, David, to do all the technical stuff, so I'm just flying by the seat of pants here. But really good to see you. Listen, we've talked about the Cardiff game there, the empty net goal, the 3,000th goal in Giants history, or at the SSE. Nice little one to have on the mantelpiece.
Yeah, absolutely. When someone told me about that, I kind of said to myself, "Oh, Majimsey somewhere is loving this." I figured you were all over that stat, but obviously the main thing that night is getting the big win, and being able to provide some insurance on the game was a nice touch.
It was a fairly even game. It was a bit of a game of chess almost from both coaches and all the players involved.
You know what? There has not been a lot of space out there, in the last, 5-6 games. It just shows like the league is really good. Like, we get every team's best effort every night. And obviously the way we play defense first, like we play tight, there's just not a lot of space. So yeah, that Cardiff game was a good example of that. And yeah, absolutely. A little bit of a chess match, and we came out on top.
Goody, when you look at obviously you got the schedule, and we've played 16 million times from the start of the year, and Glasgow about the same. And then you're getting into playing the likes of Cardiff, Nottingham, Sheffield, Cardiff again next week, Dundee obviously on Saturday. Cardiff again on Friday. But when you had those 3 games in 4 nights against Cardiff, Nottingham, and Sheffield, you've got to be happy with 4 points against those 3 teams, especially being banged up in the way we have been over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great test for us. Obviously, you look at history, those 4 teams you just mentioned, and then obviously ourselves, like us 4, those are kind of the teams that are usually in it at the end. So we knew that little stretch last week was a huge test for us. And honestly, I think we passed the test, and we did very well. Obviously, we win the first 2, and then the game in Sheffield, we were winning, a really unfortunate bounce, with Gods putting it in the net. We could have been up 2-0 after the first. It just, it kind of got away from us. But as we look back on the last, 3 or 4 games, we're very happy.
And I think it's fair to say defensively we've been strong over the last few games. Offensively, I don't think we're firing in all cylinders right now. I think there's still a hell of a lot more to come. And once we basically a few things click into place, I think there's a real good chance somebody's going to get absolutely pumped soon.
I agree. Like defensively, we're really starting to find our stride. Offensively, even like myself included, like just haven't quite been able to, make as many plays out there, or haven't quite been able to create as much as we'd like. So I think we have a lot of the right pieces for the recipe, and I think we're really close to putting it all together.
David, obviously we've got a league game coming up against Cardiff again on Friday, and then we're back to the Challenge Cup. Will you be thankful that this is going to be the final group stage game, and then we can more or less put all our focus on the Elite League?
Yeah, I guess. As Kitchie said, it felt like for a while there it was just the Scottish Northern Irish League, with how much we were going over there. But yeah, I mean, I think again, those Scottish teams at the beginning of the season, they're always a tough test. It's all those barns are hard to play in. But yeah, I think we're looking forward to kind of getting to the knockout stage of the Challenge Cup. And
then for the new guys, I mean, are they grasping the kind of switch between competitions each time? Essentially, the Challenge Cup, it's a mini league stage, anyway, but are they kind of thinking, oh, what do we want? What game are we playing this week? Or what competition is it this week? Or are they fully invested and know exactly what's going on?
Yeah, a little bit of both, to be honest. I think, and obviously like no fault to them. It's just there's so much going on, especially with CHL. I think a lot of the new guys just taking it one game at a time, which I think is a totally fine mentality. And Kiefer does a good job of showing us the standings of kind of the Challenge Cup or the league. But yeah, I mean, I think when we get to the semifinals, like that's when it really starts to hit home that, oh, this is like a separate tournament that has an end in sight a lot sooner than the regular season.
Yeah, no, obviously I think Glasgow did us a bit of a favour there against Dundee at the weekend. So it's just more or less down to yourselves to do the business here on Sunday night against Dundee to secure that top spot.
Yeah, we have not had the results we wanted against Dundee so far this year. So kind of Challenge Cup or not, we want to have a really good performance against them. And we certainly feel like we owe them, a tough game.
And David, it's obviously just ticked over into November. It already seems like this season has been quite long. We're 20-something games in this season. As you said, the CHL, we had 10, 11 games already in the Champions League or in the Challenge Cup. But you must be, as the leader, as the captain of this team, the adversity it's faced already. You talk about Roche and Basti and Sam Jones and Carr now hurt, and I think Fad's missed a few games and Reader missed a few games. Different people, Ben Lake playing banged up. You must be pretty proud of the team behind you.
I think we have a great group, and I think we've handled the first third or fourth of the season very well. That CHL, that's no joke. Obviously, we're playing some high-end players in the world, and we held our own. And I think we're really starting to make that transition back to our domestic league really well. So really, really tough to do, I think, these first 2.5 months, but I think the guys have handled it well.
And whilst those games in the CHL were really difficult, and I've been waxing lyrical about the country of Switzerland, it was such a beautiful place to go to.
We had a fantastic time, despite getting our butts whooped.
Well, on that note, we'll move it very quickly back to Friday. It's the next game up is more important than the Sunday game for now, but difficult building to go into. We've had a look at Cardiff. We know what to expect. We've just got to go in there and do a job.
Absolutely. It's going to be a dogfight on Friday. I mean, obviously, like they're not going to be happy with their last result against us. And, we cannot rest on our laurels thinking that, we beat them once, we're going to beat them again. It's going to be clean slate, and it's going to be a dogfight.
Well, David, hopefully see you down there on Friday. And if not, you can tune in on Cardiff Devils TV probably. But thanks very much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
I want you to be here. I want you to be here on the street. Because this is our time.
That's we advert for the friendship series. That's not what I meant to play, but the friendship series is available on the 3rd and 4th of January.
2nd and 3rd.
2nd and 3rd.
It's go time. It's show time. It's go time. The whole time. Scoring goals time. Let them know time. It's go time. The whole time. Scoring goals time. Let them know time.
That's what I meant to do. So, and my inner Simon Kitchen was going,
It's okay, mate. You took a while, like delayed.
so will we talk about the Sheffield game?
Yeah, go for it.
So, following night, 24 hours later, less than 24 hours later, across the, I don't know, M1. One of those motorways anyway, Nottingham up to Sheffield. And unfortunately came out on the wrong end of the 4-1 defeat. Took the lead earlier in the game, but Sheffield managed to peg us back there. A couple of little deflections either way. Could have went a different way, but it didn't on the night. Let's see if we've got any highlights here. I don't know whether we do or not. Might have. Bear with. Sheffield goals. Here we are. So anyway, Marty, you watched this one live, and your own thoughts on the game?
You know what? Goody summed it up excellently. We got the go-ahead goal with Grasso. Obviously, tired bodies, but banged up. We really needed that kind of momentum in our favour. And we were just so unfortunate to get the second one. And then what I just felt was when the Steelers got that lucky bounce, Robert Dowd throwing it in. You just knew, right? The crowd are behind the Steelers. They've got the wind behind the sails here, and they just jumped on. I know we had a lot of shots in the game. I think we actually outshot them, but you could just tell that we did have that little bit of tiredness in our legs, a little bit of tiredness in our shooting, and the Steelers were just more clinical. Greenfield was decent, as he always is. And just to more or less touch on Jackson Whistle, he's played more or less the majority of games here in the last few weeks. And you could just tell that it was just one game too many for us. Sheffield Steelers, I believe, are going to be up there with ourselves. I know we said the likes of Cardiff Devils and Nottingham Panthers more or less played the best three teams in 4 days, but I think Steelers will be up there again, jostling with ourselves to win the title. And they were fortunate to catch us on an overloaded scheduled week for ourselves. And I think it'll be a different story once we meet them again.
Says, I'm sure Aaron Fox was licking his lips when he seen the Friday night game going into overtime and penalty shots and them sitting at home waiting for us.
Yeah, and like any coach would do the same. They did want them playing 65 minutes, and obviously, you're on the ice for the penalty shootout as well. And it was a tough game against Nottingham the night before. But I think Marty just touched on it there. I do think if you're playing 3 games in 4 nights against arguably the 3 best teams in the league, and it was always going to be a tough ask. And you're obviously losing Carl on Friday night. Ben Lake had to drop back and play D. Kieran Long's already playing D. Bo Hansen, Reid Irwin, and Mike Lee, I believe, at 29.5 minutes on Saturday night. So when you're playing that many minutes, you cannot be at your best. And we obviously got the go ahead goal, and you go 1-0 up, and the Steelers are a really good outfit. They're a good team. Some great players in that team again this year, and we are going to have other games against them where we're going to play better. There's no doubt about that. I just thought we were sort of struggling with the intensity level of after those 2 games against Cardiff and Nottingham in 3 nights as well. So, but as I said right at the start of the show, if you'd offer me 4 points from the 6 last Tuesday, I probably would have bitten your arm off for them. So to come out and again another performance that being so short on the benches that you've got to be pleased with. And I think Adam would be pleased with the effort that the group did put in. Goody just touched on it there, that, the boys were certainly, they're going to feel it for Sunday, and then obviously today they get a couple of days off back on the ice this morning, Tuesday, and it's a big difference with getting a couple of days off in a row, because it's the first time they've had it in a while. So it's hopefully they get well rested for Friday, because again the Cardiff Devils are going to be sitting waiting for us in Cardiff, and it's going to be another tough big game against the Devils over in the capital in Wales.
Well, let's very, very brief, and I mean very briefly, have a wee quick look at that Friday, Marty, and then I'll come on to says for Sunday. But Friday, another big game in the league. We've had our start, or we've lost away in Guildford. We've unfortunately lost one in Sheffield, but we've won in Nottingham. We've a couple of wins against Fife, and we've won against Cardiff. So it's been a decent enough start.
Yeah, it's been good. It has been good. I think the Guildford was an unfortunate loss. Obviously, you guys touched on that last week. We had many chances to put that one to bed. We've just touched about the Sheffield there. I think it was one game too many there for this week. And we know how good Cardiff are. They'll have an extra level playing at home. But I think our success rate has been decent over in Cardiff. We've played well over there. So I think we just need to go in with the same mentality as what we did last Wednesday. Just more or less go at them. As I touched on the stats earlier, it was pretty similar from shots on goal. I think our face-off was a lot better. But I think hopefully we can get a couple of bodies back as well, and more or less go down into Wales and take it to them, because you want to be beaten. Well, you want to be beating every team, but you certainly want to be beating the 6-game series against the top teams. Obviously, 3 home, 3 away. You want to keep on adding to that and make sure you kind of pip the top teams and regulation wins.
And Simon, then we'll move on. I know we don't like talking about games, but we've still one in between. But we have a home game then on Sunday. Last game in the Challenge Cup. This in the group stage at least. Dundee Stars visit Belfast. Dundee have had a bit of our number this season so far, so we'll be chomping at the bit to right that wrong.
Yeah, I think with the old car, the Dundee one, but you've just touched on it. We've got a bit of hockey to play before we actually get Dundee on Sunday. So they're playing Glasgow in the Challenge Cup on Saturday night. So, if Glasgow win that game, then Dundee, I think, are done. Is that right? Because we've won more regulation. So, they'll be going all out to try and get that win against Glasgow on the Saturday night, and hopefully, that goes to 65 minutes, and it's a real battle, and they're beating the bag at each other, and but we are due a result against the Dundee Stars, and but the boys it'll not even be coming into their thought process until they get Friday out of the way.
Of course not, but we can talk about it here, Simon. It's a very, very simple mathematical equation. Win and you're through.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's important. A lot of teams probably don't expect to get through to the semi-finals or the playoff before the semi-final in the Challenge Cup, and it's an important game that you've got to win. You've got to have that mentality of you want to win trophies every single season. We have that. We've had a very successful run in the Challenge Cup over the last 6-7 years, and it's a trophy that Adam it takes very, very seriously. As to be honest, he takes everything, every trophy seriously. But it's one of those ones where you want to be in the mix. You want to get to the final. You want to give your chances yourself a chance to win. I've said this before on the podcast in the last few weeks. Winning is not easy. Everybody wants to beat the champions. Everybody gets their game against the champions, and I know you've obviously seen that over the last number of weeks. Guildford give us a tough task the week before last. This weekend we played against and we played Cardiff, Nottingham, and Sheffield. We've already had 3 tough games against Dundee. It doesn't matter who we're playing. Every team wants to beat the reigning champions, whether it's a Challenge Cup or whether it's the league. So everybody ups their game. We've got to up our game on Sunday for sure, because we do want to qualify and we do want to progress in this competition.
And we'll want a big crowd in there as well, Simon. What are ticket sales looking like?
To be honest, it's going to sell out again. We got an email today saying about the numbers already. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be another sellout, and sure.
And if you want to get a ticket, Simon, because it hasn't scrolled around here, so I can't give the link. What's the link they got? Go get yourself a ticket.
www.ticketmaster.ie.
Very good. And if you're not lucky enough to get a ticket and you want to watch it, who's going to be behind the mic this week, Simon?
To be determined. It might be Marty and myself. I'm just waiting to get. Just have to see what sponsors are in. The sponsors are an important part of what we do, and we've got to look after them. So I'll go have a look at it when I get back into work on Wednesday.
There we are. Tickets, BelfastGiants.com. Webcast live.belfastgiants.com. And you can catch all the action with whoever it's going to be. Says Marty maybe. But lads, well played. Any other business?
41 minutes, Davy. That's a record.
Great. Good job, Davy. You did very well tonight. Congratulations.
Right, thanks, Marty. I appreciate that. But no business from anybody here? No?
I don't think so. Oh, happy birthday, wee Blake. I know it was tail end last Friday. 18. Blake McCackey, 18. He was. I've seen a photograph of him ordering his first pint. It's unbelievable to think that wee rocket is basically legally aged to have a pint of Guinness or a pint of Harp or a pint of Heineken, should say. I've seen him playing a musical instrument the weekend as well. He's a talent for fair play to him there as well. He was having a smashing time by the looks of things. So yeah, happy birthday, Blakey. It feels like we've grown up with Blake. It just feels like we've just been part of his life. And do you know what? I've been over the last few weeks. Just when I'm walking about the arena again, I'm probably seeing a lot more fans than what I had been over the last while, because when we're doing the commentating, you don't see any of them. As soon as the commentating's finished, you're down the back doing the interviews, or you're trying to sort any issues with the players and stuff out. But not doing the commentating, I'm sort of walking about the concourse and walking about down in the foyer. And there's so many fans that come over and basically say about the podcast, and they're all loving the podcast and they keep it up. And I know, Davey, especially, we've talked about this before. It is tough to basically keep it going. It's 20 years now, that might be getting to a point where there is other people that could take it over. Monday and Tuesday nights or Wednesday nights, whatever night we're basically doing it. It is tough, because there's so much more happening around, and I know you've got the girls out playing hockey and other sports as well, and I know Paddy's obviously got the kids and trying to get them to bed before he gets settled out for the podcast. Marty just goes into a dark room and locks the door from Lauren and Sebastian, so it just basically it's a lot easier for him. But it's amazing how many people are actually watching us. It's a wee bit humbling, to be honest. And so many of them having a bit of a laugh at what we get on like. So, thanks again to everybody for watching, because it's absolutely massive that we get so many people watching on the podcast on Facebook or Twitter or whatever it may be.
People won't know, but over here on my screen, on my screen, I've just noticed all the coaches' comments from after the games. Do we want to see them now? Or is it too late?
No, they can just tell them, send a link to them or something. Like I put it on the webcast. David, you've 30 seconds to wrap this up, so we're done in 45 minutes. That's amazing.
Well, yes. Well, then we'll go. Thank you very much to Gareth Martin, former Belfast Giant, current legend, Simon Kitchen, my good friend. Who else have we got to thank? Run out of time. Nobody else to thank. David Goodwin. Thank you to the captain, David Goodwin, for coming on. 9 seconds. Whatever you're doing this weekend, enjoy your hockey. We'll see you next time on A View from the Bridge.
Thanks, boys.
There should have been a night.
Still going, Dave. You're still going.
No, we're not in the studio until the outro finishes. I don't know how to do this.